Welcome to the Sandwich Crunch, where we navigate the trends and issues facing boomers and seniors at home, in the workplace, and the community. Very excited to have you here with us and join us for this new show, and we have a lot to cover. And today I've got a wonderful guest, Alicia, and her name is Alicia Donciu. She is a licensed acupuncturist and also an herbal medicine practitioner. She is a wonderful resource for both men and women, for boomers, seniors, and elders. And I'm very excited to have you here today.
Thank you for having me.
Well, I've worked with Alicia. Alicia has been my acupressure and acupuncture Practitioner, yes. And she got me over the fear of needles, I have to say, because I didn't like them. But anyway, the reason why I invited Alicia on was to talk about the powers of acupuncture and the uses of massage and various other herbal meditation and herbal remedies and so on that you use with your clients. But before we get there, I thought you could share a little bit about yourself.
I grew up north of here, or south of here, Tuolumne County. So coming to the foothills seems like a natural move. And I went to undergrad in Santa Cruz, UC Santa Cruz. I went to grad school up in Portland, Oregon. And it's been nice to be back in California. I've been in the area for about 8 months now, but have practiced in various other places in the state.
Well, that's great. Well, you are a wonderful asset and much, much appreciated. I know in the community that I work with and talk with, you are a very, very welcomed addition to the natural remedies and natural aspects of holistic health.
It's nice to be here.
It's just really awesome. You know, you shared with me a really fabulous story about one of your clients, and she's 94 years old, and I thought we could kick off how your acupuncture and your holistic approach to medicine has really helped her improve her life, and if you'd share how she got there and how you got to her doorstep.
Sure. Her daughter called me and said, my mother, this was in July, my mother fell in June, and she since then has had some troubles, not only with pain from healing for her broken sacrum and low back area, but also not getting the nerve signals for when she needed to use the restroom facilities, and just also pain management was affecting her sleep, and her appetite was greatly suppressed. So I've been working with her every week to 2 weeks since then, and she's just a joy. But it's been really fabulous to see her not only having less and less pain every time, and I guess the last 3 months now, no pain at all, but also having her bodily functions all working properly, getting the messages connecting from her brain down to her toes and everywhere in between, and then just having more mental acuity, as well as working on her appetite and just her overall sense of well-being. And just at times, you know, having limited range of motion because of her accident, of course, that can lend to not feeling her most upbeat. And so just working with her just on her whole approach with life, and then working with her family as far as her diet and increasing circulation and just her sleep patterns in general. So it's been a really great journey, and I love seeing her. She's one of my favorite patients.
That's wonderful. Well, can you explain how acupressure and acupuncture helps connect those nerves and connects all that information so that one can perform better and heal better? Because I know for you, you worked with me. I actually have IBS, severe IBS, and you've helped me with relaxing my colon and helping my emotional balance come into play. But I've had a little bit more experience with it, and maybe a lot of our viewers don't. So I thought you could explain more about that.
Sure. The Chinese medicine in general is a very holistic approach. And so throughout talking with patients and the different questions that I ask, it's really a head-to-toe comprehensive check-in. So
I have to say, I've got to interject, because you do have the most comprehensive approach I have ever experienced. Every doctor should do exactly what you do. It is absolutely amazing.
Well, it's I wish I could claim it, but it started 5,000 years ago. But it's really And in some ways, and I feel like this is really important with healthcare in general, but through the questioning, it helps people really check in with, oh, I haven't been having headaches, or, oh yeah, this is what's happening in my body. So the questioning, as you know, is really head to toe, from digestion to sleep to mental, emotional, and our mental, physical, and emotional states are all connected. One can really affect the other. And then other diagnostic principles in the medicine are checking tongue, checking pulse, just observing the body of the patient in general. So through the questioning and observation and check-in with tongue and pulse, it's really helps paint a clear picture of what organ systems are involved in it, and then the acupuncture points or acupressure points are really head to toe and everywhere in between. And so based on the patient's answers to the questions and their tongue and pulse picture and the observations in general, it can really hone in on what areas of the body need help, where something might be stuck that might need to be loosened up, or where some area might be deficient and need nourishing, or where, for example, if someone has high blood pressure, where maybe there needs to be an excess that's drained off. So it's really helping the body systems balance themselves out, and it's instead of masking the symptoms with a painkiller or removing the organ or whatever the case may be, it really helps the body to heal itself and in turn prevent symptoms from even occurring, much less just masking them to begin with. So,
well, I have a question. This may sound like a really stupid analogy, but is it kind of like a spark plug in a car? I mean, being able to make sure that spark plug is properly connecting so that the car engine can work.
Absolutely.
So is that what acupuncture and acupressure does with our nervous system and the different points and pressures on our body?
Exactly. It just really helps our body, which is an amazing being, heal itself. And it has a great healing capacity, but when we take into consideration everyday stresses, environmental factors, the season, if it's hot or cold outside, if we've had some emotional stress in our life, all of these things can contribute to our body not being able to heal itself. So acupuncture and acupressure with Chinese herbs and diet and other modalities can really help the body to get back on track and do the healing from within rather than an external in a bottle or, like I said, surgery. It really helps the body to heal. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gosh, that is amazing. Now, you also work with your clients in helping them with the holistic, not only the medicine side, but you talk about herbs and diet. Because I know when you and I have spoken, and we talked about some of your other clients, that you have a very serious conversation with them about, these are some things that can help you. And you shared with me earlier about this woman, a special herb that would help her in healing. And we talked about a gentleman that I know who had hurt his shoulder, and he had used turmeric.
Yeah.
And so I thought maybe you could share a little bit more about how these different herbs and spices and things like that make a difference.
Absolutely. Well, the two aspects of Chinese medicine that kind of speaks to this is one is the herbal aspect. So the herbal formulas or individual herbs are, there's a lot of different forms. I use a bottle form, so the formula is already made up. And many of the Chinese herbs are also common everyday food. So, for example, sesame seed, cinnamon, honey, mint, citrus peel, all of these things that are pretty common in our everyday life can really be amazing healing tools. And so in the case of this 94-year-old patient, I recommended to her daughter to help her circulation, and she was feeling cold, incorporating cayenne into her daily fresh juice that they have every day. And so the cayenne is very warming, really helps with circulation, can be found in any grocery store. Most people have it in their cabinet in the kitchen, and it's an amazing healing herb. So when I talk to patients about their diet, which in the right way and in the right amounts, food is medicine, and it's one of the major pillars of Chinese medicine. I try and talk with them about avoiding slushies and junk food and really thinking about what food they're putting into their body and how the proper foods, like I said, can really be medicine. So if a patient is willing to change their diet or even just do a few modifications, it can really not only empower them, but have a huge effect on how they're feeling overall. And then in conjunction with the Chinese herbs, there's herbs for everything from stroke to, diabetes protocols to if someone is recovering from cancer or even just a common cold or flu or headaches. There's herbs for everything under the sun. So it's really a great way to give to someone something that they're maybe not getting through their normal biological everyday functionings.
Now, do you also work in conjunction? Say you've got a client, and do you work sometimes with their physician, or at least in communication with them, saying, okay, these are the herbs that I'm prescribing for your patient, so that there's no interactions with the other medications that they are prescribed?
I do as much as I can. I feel like it's more along the lines of, if a patient comes in, I'll review what prescription drugs they're on, and then I will tailor my prescriptions for them so that nothing interacts negatively with what they might be on as far as from a prescription standpoint. Most of the herbs in the Chinese pharmacopoeia don't have any negative interactions with most common Western medicines that people are prescribed, which is fortunate. But yeah, I do keep that in mind, and looking to putting roots down more and more in the community and with other medical practitioners. I'm hoping to talk more and more with other doctors and really advocate for the patient's health and be on the same page with their practitioner, so they can hear from their chiropractor and their massage therapist and their, family practitioner that, hey, maybe try and just have, 1 soda a day instead of 10 sodas a day, or whatever the case may be, but really to have a team working together in the patient's best interest.
That's great. I mean, it's just such a holistic way of approaching life. And as we age right now, and the boomers are the largest growing aging population.
Yeah.
And I think it's the first 2 years of the 65-year-olds have now entered retiree mode. And it's interesting how many of us in that group seem to feel like we're invincible and we can get through things without going to that holistic approach. And there's been so much abuse to our bodies that we have done in the past. Now, can some of that abuse that boomers or seniors have had experience in the past, can some of that be reversed utilizing natural medicine and herbs and so on?
Absolutely. I mean, I feel like if someone's, stage 4 of whatever the situation might be, you can help aid in making the symptoms less severe and with pain management. But I'd say for most everything, I mean, it took a while to get there. And if someone is willing to not just expect a magical one treatment, wand to wave over and reverse all the years of whatever they were doing to get them to that place, I think almost every situation, if not reversible, can be greatly improved upon, especially if the patient is willing to look at their diet and look at their stress triggers in their life and be willing to invest in community and build community and spend time in nature and do some proactive things to take their health into their own hands. Make sure they're getting enough sleep and they're hydrating. And it's really the simple things. Once those bases are covered, health can, we want to be healthy. Our bodies want to function well.
They absolutely do. So what are some of your other clients that you've had wonderful experiences with, that you've seen some changes in not only their attitude, because I would imagine there's a lot that have been a little skeptical as they've walked in your doorway.
Sure, of course.
Like myself, afraid to death of getting acupuncture. But what kinds of experiences have you had with your clients?
I'd say one of the things that really stands out is once someone's had a surgery and maybe they have had a hip surgery, and so the incision could be painful, the scar tissue built up under where the incision was, and I've seen a lot of relief with acupuncturing the incision area and just really working on the meridian pathways that go through the affected area to help unblock things that are stuck and help with pain relief. I've had a lot of success with people that come in for insomnia. Maybe they have trouble falling asleep, or maybe they have trouble staying asleep, and by asking how their insomnia manifests is another way that we can really hone in on, okay, what's exactly causing this insomnia? And you can say the term insomnia or hip pain, but it really can manifest differently for every person. It really can be, one person's hip pain might be another person's, just a little hitch in their giddy up. So it really can change person to person. And I think acupuncture can help with that pain management and then just decreasing it in general. And again, what we were talking about at the beginning, really getting the patient more in tune with their body and more able to listen to when it's saying something or when maybe a certain organ system isn't functioning in the best way it could function.
So do you find that most patients that are new to you aren't connected to that internal source of their body?
That's a good question. It really is all over the map. Some people are very in tune, and some people, they're, don't know how they feel from the knees down, maybe. They're just so busy. And our lives and our society is really, it's stressful. We're patted on the back for multitasking and for, the more we can do, the more valuable we are in our society. But through kind of just slowing things down and getting people in touch with it, I have seen huge changes in people just volunteering. Oh, I had a headache, but it was over here and it felt like this, versus before when it was like, yeah, I kind of don't feel good. Oh yeah, it's in my head, or whatever the case may be.
That's fascinating. It is really, people are so fascinating because there's so much to learn about them, and
Absolutely.
so much they can learn about themselves, not only just physically, but emotionally, because one of the things you're talking about too is that emotional connection to the body.
Yeah.
And that emotional connection, which in personal experience, not having understood how much it ties to the different aspects of your body, I mean, that the emotional connection can affect your guts, it can affect your heart, can affect your shoulder pain or your back pain. Can you talk more about that emotional connection?
Absolutely. Well, one thing that just comes up right away for me is stress, and thinking about, on top of our kidneys, we have our adrenal glands, and when we get stressed, they release cortisol, and that can contribute to, middle abdominal weight gain. And I feel like everyone has some variety of stress. I mean, that's just kind of our modern day life. But connecting that notion of, okay, so you're stressed and you have 20 things on your to-do list, and you're in your car and you're trying to eat real fast, and then you get to where you're going, and just really, even sometimes just allowing the space for people to talk about stuff and not, I give hour-long treatments, and so that usually gives enough time for someone to share their story, and there's something that's very sheds light on, as well as educating for people to hear themselves talk about stuff. And I know for myself, if someone asks me something and I can put the words to it, it helps me gain a better understanding of it. And if it's talking about a system in my body or where I might have pain or discomfort or dis-ease, and it's really educational, like you're saying. And it's just this process and just this notion of, all right, one step at a time. And this is, it doesn't always have to be in pain. I don't always have to have this experience. It can get better. And that's the best part, is seeing that happen.
So from a holistic approach, what do you do for yourself? I mean, what is your holistic approach to your life, in the practitioners you bring into your life, the type of diet that you bring into your life? Because obviously you mirror that to your clients, and that's the one thing that you want them to take on. I mean, obviously personalize it to themselves, but you are a perfect example of how to live life in that best and most healthy way.
Well, I try to. I do like ice cream, but I drink it with tea or coffee, so it's warm as well. But I try, and I never skip breakfast. I feel like it really is the most important meal. And, just go to the basics. Am I hydrated? Have I had enough sleep? Do I have some sort of outlet for my stress? For me, it's spending time in nature and some sort of physical activity. So I go to yoga, once or twice a week. I try and eat well. I always buy organic and in season if I can, local, try and grow my own if I can. I, just try and, again, have some sort of outlet for my stress levels, because, everyone has stress. So I try and make sure I have enough personal time that I can, go for a walk or go skiing, or just, spend some time where I'm not inundated by phone calls and traffic and buildings around me and things like that. Again, diet, I feel like, is probably the biggest. It has changed with the Affordable Health Care Act, but my answer before, when someone asked me about my health insurance, I said, it's my grocery bill. So I really feel like what I eat and how I vote with my dollar, I feel like that really can be activism, not only in community, but for myself, for my health, and just trying to keep that in mind.
That's a powerful way to make a difference.
Yeah.
That's in multiple ways, not only in your body, but in our community and in the world. You're right. That's a huge one. Well, that is a great way that you do that. In other ways, when you have someone and they have resistance and they're resisting that change, that would really help them, how do you engage them to take even that first step?
I try and make it something accessible and explain why, not just throw a bunch of words that are hard to understand in context, but say, okay, for example, if you're going to have a cocktail, that's fine. Make sure you put some fresh citrus in it. Citrus helps move the chi, so it can help things move around. And then I say, take it on a walk. So get a little bit of exercise. Go for a 15-minute walk once a night. Most people can do that, or, especially if they have a loved one or family member they can go on a walk with, and that's also a really healthy thing. So just making it accessible and understandable for the patient, and not like you have to clear everything out of your cabinets and refrigerators, because that's impossible. It's like so much that it makes it difficult to do. And so just really to have it be understood and accessible for the patient to really have a say in their health and be able to take some of that into their own hands and make decisions. Okay, I'm going to try and drink 5 glasses of water a day instead of 5 sodas a day, or whatever the case may be.
So you mentioned the word qi, and I would imagine a lot of people don't really understand that terminology. What does that actually equate to?
Qi that's a great question. The Chinese symbol for it is the steam coming off of cooking rice. So if anyone's ever cooked rice and they smell that, it's almost like the steam is nourishing in a way. But qi is this very light, nourishing, it goes everywhere. It's the vital force. If people are associated with Ayurvedic medicine, it might be prana, it might just be the breath, but it's just this notion of a vibration, a vital force, something that makes us alive. And qi courses everywhere. It's in the rivers that move, it's in our breath we take, it's in our eyes, it's everywhere. And so just when it's stuck, and they say, for example, worry knots our qi, and we can feel that. I feel worried about something, my stomach starts getting tight, I feel like my hands get cold, I can't really think as clearly, and it's like that qi, that energy is stuck. I would say energy is probably the best English direct translation for qi.
It's a great translation for it, actually. It works very well, because I can relate, and I know many, many people out there can relate to having those feelings.
Yeah.
And especially in this world we're in, where everybody's connected to a cell phone, they're connected to an iPad, they're connected to their car, they're driving, they're doing this, and that qi, or that energy, is all tightened up into a ball.
Yeah, and then we need our 5-hour energy shots to keep us going.
Yeah, those are great. Yeah, that's a really good. Those are actually pretty dangerous, I understand, too.
Yeah, I've not had one myself, but I would say the best thing for feeling tired is getting rest.
Yeah, listen to your body.
Yeah, it has a great way of telling us what's going on. It's just if we're able to listen to it or not.
So what would be some things that you would recommend for someone right now listening to you and considering embracing acupuncture or acupressure, because you use both aspects. You don't just use needles. You use acupressure as a massage element in your business. What would be something you would recommend to future clients or future individuals out there that are interested in taking this into their life to help them either heal something or improve their life in some way?
Like some sort of take-home message everywhere?
Yeah, something, a take-home message.
Oh gosh, I would say try and avoid ice water. And, I love talking with people about stuff. So if anyone ever calls, I'm happy to have any type of conversation. I feel like the best thing people can do is just, like you said, listen to their body and spend time in nature, just observing nature and how the natural world works. Water flows downhill, heat evaporates, things like this. I mean, there's a saying, as above, so below. And just being in touch with the natural world around us and knowing that those same principles are working within us. And so detaching from the cell phone and, the computer once in a while, and just finding that time to breathe and just reflect within and try and not be so plugged into the world around us, but to just bring that in, especially depending on the time of year. In the summer, it's fun to go out and swimming and have barbecues. And in the winter, it's nice to sort of hibernate and nourish and have soup for dinner and, get more sleep. It's, like we see bears hibernating. Not that we need to hibernate, but, just like you said, listening to our bodies and just being more in tune with maybe what our basic needs are and trying to facilitate that.
Well, that's a wonderful gift to give out there. Now, do you ever advise anybody or help anybody with simple meditation techniques that also can help them relax?
Yeah, just going back to the whole notion of breath, I do have breathing exercises I try and talk with people about, and just, sitting comfortably and taking a breath in and holding it and exhaling for longer than we inhale. It really helps us to let go of the stuff we don't need to hold on to, and just getting in touch with that natural rhythm and that cycle in life, and having our feet planted on the ground. That could be very grounding, very aligning, and just imagining ourselves, from the top of our head connected up to the stars and our feet connected down to the earth. Not to sound too woo-woo, but just our natural place on the planet, and that we're affected by the weather and, where we are. It all matters in some way or another. But yeah, just the natural breath of taking in and letting go.
Yeah, breath is rather powerful. It's kind of nice to breathe.
I know, one thing we all share in common.
Yes, we do. But it's interesting because breathing, a lot of people shallow breathe as opposed to breathing deep into their belly. And
Yeah.
so that is one thing I would assume you do talk to your clients about.
That's a great way to put it. Yeah, just, taking it all the way into your, ideally seeing your belly rise and not just your chest rise. And then you're breathing all the way in, your diaphragm is expanding, which is allowing more air capacity in your lungs, and you're able to get more out of your breath.
Well, is there anything else that you would like to share?
I love acupuncture and Chinese medicine, and I can't think of anyone or any age or any gender or any variety of species of humans we come in that couldn't benefit from it. And in China, back in the day, acupuncturists were paid to keep patients well, which is sort of the exact opposite of our Western only come and seek care if we're hurt or sick. And this notion of preventative medicine, I think, is the way of the future.
I absolutely agree with you, and I hope that you as our audience embrace that, because holistic medicine truly is a gift you can give yourself, not only as a boomer or a senior, but our elders, and there's so many people that can benefit from this.
Oh yeah,
Pediatrics, exactly.
People in their reproductive years, yeah.
There's so many places.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh, this is just an amazing conversation. I can keep going on and on and on with you because I am absolutely in love with acupuncture and what it offers people and the gifts that it gives the human body by being able to get it reconnected.
Yeah.
Basically getting it reignited so that it
Yeah.
can get that energy going.
Yeah, it's like a tune-up, changing out the spark plugs.
Yeah, exactly. You're very good at changing out those spark plugs.
Wow. My dad's a mechanic. I'd have to thank him.
Well, thank you. We'll send him a big thank you note.
All right. Well, thank you.
You're welcome. Well, Alicia, it's been a pleasure having you here. And I want to tell our audience thank you so much for joining us on the Sandwich Crunch. Again, this is a place where we navigate the trends and issues facing boomers and seniors. And we look forward to having you join us again.